Hey guys, TB Boxer 51 Trader here. I got another video for you in regards to this little mini course that I told you I was going to do. So basically, the next thing that I'm going to do, it is somewhat talked about with other traders, but there's a little bit of a caveat and a little bit of a difference in the way that I do it. And what I call this rule is the patient stop loss at all times rule. And what that means is that no matter what, when I'm ever in the trade, I have to have I apply, well, the patient stop loss rule is different. The patient stop loss at all time rules is just making sure that I apply this rule at all times during a trade, whether if I have all of my contracts, I've already hit my first target, or if I just have the runners. I'm going to go into detail what that means. But again, I call it the patient stop loss at all times rule. And you have to take this in context with certain market conditions, whether or not the market tends to retest, chop around, then go, or if the market at the moment is more prone just to, uh, you know, go in one direction, consolidate, and go without doing a retest and a pullback. You do have to take that into consideration. And again, that only comes with market experience, but just keep that in mind that context matters in terms of market conditions. But what I do when I have the patient stop loss at all times rule. So I want you guys to take this in mind, okay? So when I entered the trade, the best trade that I guys have talked to you about so many times so far, I call it whenever I enter that trade, when I was in that trade, hold on. So I entered at 1020, right? So again, we always talk about having a proper stop loss to manage the risk, so that if we do lose the trade, we are not risking more than 5% of the account max. But really, if I'm being honest with you, I never really risk more than 2% of my account. Like, I'm very, very defensive. I keep telling you guys that's the most important goddamn thing in trading. So when I entered here, right, I entered on the break of this candle right there. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. 1 second. 15. Oh, no. No, 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 no. 10, 20, 35. 10, 15. Yeah, so I'm sorry, guys. So basically, I entered as soon as we broke below. So right here, when you go here, 80, 90, 0, 10, 20. So that's a 20 cent. So right there, I remember that with the deltas I chose, it was less. It was over a 30-cent stop loss. In fact, it was 50 cent. And let me see here. Sorry, guys. 80 and then 20 right here. And I had my stop loss 20. Now, I did give myself a little bit of leeway, a little bit of freedom due to the fact that with market conditions, I understand they like to chop around and they like to do a real good retest, likely. I did give myself just an extra 10 cents, and I did put my stop loss around here. Okay, but it was just 10 cents. The 50 cents and the 10 cents wouldn't have made that much of a difference, and I did choose the right delta. So I did give, so again, a little bit of context and always keeping defense in mind, and a little bit of flexibility with my trading style. But here's the thing. With that being said, what do you guys see here? You guys see that my stop loss hit, right? You guys see that it did hit. So what I would used to do back then when I first started trading is, as soon as the alert triggered, I would get out of the trade immediately. Now, especially what something I've learned due to the market conditions, I've been saying how it really likes to do a good retest and really likes to fake you out when you're inside of a trade intraday. The thing is, from now on, instead of just getting out as soon as the alert triggers, instead what I do is, when the alert does trigger, I will wait for the close of that candle when it triggers. So it close. So we hit the alert on this one right here, right? And then as it closes, I look to see whether or not we have a strong close, which we did, or if we have a candle on the close of that specific candle that breaches the stop loss. If it has a lot of in this case, a lot of selling pressure, and there would have been a bigger wick. If there was a bigger wick, I would be a lot less worried, and I would just have the stop loss at the top of the wick, because that means it's violating. So say if this candle was like inverted but it was still green, and say the close was there and had all that wick, I would just put the stop loss there. But the same rule applies with the strong close. Just as soon as we have any little bit of continuation past that wick, I'm out of the trade. Now, we never really had any continuation past it. In fact, we pretty much stayed exactly the same. And in this scenario, in this again, it doesn't always work, but in this specific scenario, that is what it works. So to summarize, the patient stop loss rule is whenever you hit your stop loss, wait for the close to see to confirm if there was a strong push at that candle that triggered the alert, or if there was a big wick. And then don't close out once the alert triggers, but instead just be a little patient just to make sure the market isn't just chopping around and doing a retest trying to fake out participants. Just verify and see that with the close of the candle. And if, especially if it's a strong close, and if there's any more continuation past it, then stop out just to be sure that you didn't get faked out. And make sure, and the only way you can do this is if you choose the proper deltas. You don't buy into too many contracts according relative to your entire account size, and you don't get greedy, and you don't try to buy and you don't choose deltas that are higher than you're supposed to, and you keep defense in mind first. If those things happen, you can't afford this flexibility because you're not risking too much in the first place. If you were risking too much in the first place, then yeah, you'd be fucked. So, and the reason I say the patient stop loss at all times rule is because typically I would be okay applying this rule whenever I have all of my contracts. But as a trade would go on, especially like look at how much bullshit happened this day, guys. Look at all that. Like imagine if I have my stop loss around there and then it hits, and I'm just too tired of this shit. I'm like, screw all this. I'm just gonna get out because I'm tired. I'm done. Blah blah blah. You know, uh, before, especially because I would get tired waiting all day. If the stop loss was getting closer, if I just hit it, I would just quit. I'd just say screw it, I'm out of it. The patient stop loss rule at all times just means to make sure that even if I hold on to a trade the entire day, I apply that rule no matter what, as long as I'm still taking into account the fact that defense and risk management comes first. So and on this day, it did work out well for me. So, and I pretty much got the entire move basically. I remember I closed out somewhere around here. I closed out at 1538. Yeah, on this candle. I remember on this candle after we got to the lows of these bodies right here. So pretty much the entire move. I was trying to not necessarily get greedy and squeeze out the profits as I could, but I was just trying to maximize the profits, as I say too. And again, that was acceptable due to the context. But yeah, and also because it was just one more run that I had left. I didn't have too much left in my account size anyway. So yeah, besides that, guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. And again, patience, stop loss at all times rule.